I've actually been a patient of Brighton when they were fairly new, when they kind of first opened. I think they were maybe a year old. I went there for substance abuse problems. I was, addicted to meth and heroin. I drank alcoholically, and I'd reached that point where, a lot of my family, a lot of my support was about to cut me off if I didn't go to treatment. And so what happened, I had the opportunity to go to Brighton. It was my first residential treatment. I'd been to detox a handful of times and could never get the tools, just to stay sober. That's all detox really did for me, was just, sober me out, dry me out. So I had the opportunity to go to Brighton in May of 2016. And, what I had, I guess the way to say it is, like, I wasn't planning on staying sober when I went into treatment. I started, fantasizing about, the drugs that I had left at my house. And that started taking over my mind, I started obsessing about it in my thoughts, my dreams, and I had like this conflict going on inside me while I was at Brighton. Like, well, I'm here. Do I, do what's suggested? I was just kind of saying whatever people wanted me to, or, saying what sounded right to keep people off my radar. And inside I had this internal dilemma going on is, am I gonna use, or now it's like, I'm seeing what recovery has to offer, the longer I was at Brighton. And the staff really cared about me and was giving me like suggestions on what to do. Mind you, like, I still had the secret, of what I had at my house and what I was planning on going home to. And so, multiple staff members, like, saw that I was kind of struggling, and they pulled me aside, talked to me one-on-one, and they were in recovery themselves, and that kind of just gave me like the light, and just one time, like, during a group, I was sitting in the middle of group, just kind of like, obsessing about going back and using again once that I got home. And it just like occurred to me that I had to be honest. So I ran up to the LT desk, where the life techs are. They keep your box, and you can make phone calls there. And it's not usually allowed to make a phone call during group, but I ran up there and I told the life tech who was working, I was like, hey, I've got heroin at my house. Like, I need to get rid of it. Like, I finally understand I need to be honest. And so they're like, oh, absolutely, let's make that call. And we made that call to my mom, and she was able to get rid of it. And I can't tell you like what that feeling felt like, but it was a sense of like freedom from addiction, from active addiction. And I found out that like honesty is like what's gonna make the difference in my recovery. And that's been a pivotal point in my recovery. And it's really cool. I get to like share my story with other, residents who may be in that same situation. I'm not really here to tell them what to do. I can just tell from my experience, what benefited me, and they can take it or leave it. But most people usually appreciate, my honesty about, hey, I went into treatment not expecting to stay sober, and but by the time I got out, I'd incorporated so many of these tools that I've picked up at Brighton, and got to apply them on the outside, and that was a good foundation of what really, strengthened my recovery, and found out that, that honesty is what's going to help me stay sober. And that was just one of the big like tools and like turning points that I learned in Brighton. It's just been so rewarding. I see people come in and, not sure if they can make it, not sure if they can do it. And I just say simply, it's like, hey, if I can do it, like, you can do it. It's not easy. It's not going to be, it's going to be probably the most difficult thing you're doing in your life. But, it's what the payout is, what the reward is like. I could never imagine what my life would be like. I could never imagine, working in recovery myself, It's just been an amazing ride, amazing experience, and, I wouldn't trade this job for anything in the world, really.